Welcome to today's web conference, Unlock Office 365 Opportunities with the new Office 2016. I'd like to turn it over to your first presenter, Amanda Hill, Partner Technology Strategist for Microsoft. Amanda, you now have the floor.
Great, thank you. So welcome everyone to the October Office 365 Community Call. Today we'll take a look at our Q2 FY16 Partner Technical Services offerings that you can tap into for specific live virtual Office 365 readiness, and that'll be presented by David Branscombe. And then we'll have Andrew Cook, our Senior Product Marketing Manager for Office 365, provide an overview and a demo on what's in the Office 360 or the Office 2016 release that's new and exciting for you to take advantage of. There's a lot of new innovation in the Office suite to drive business solutions and improve the productivity experiences, so I think you'll find that a really nice overview and demo. And then if you're new to our call and to our community, welcome, glad to have you. This is for partners working Office 365 solutions in the US, and then you can see here are some ways to join our US Office 365 partner community. You'll find information on building your practice and other useful information on the service, available training, resources and tools that you should be aware of to help you to be most successful. Now here's how you would sign up for the monthly partner newsletter if you're not getting that. Maybe you're on the call here, but you're not getting the newsletter. Here's how to sign up for that. We also have a partner Yammer group that's specific to our US Office 365 community. And then we do have a US partner community blog that both Office 365 and the Azure teams are contributing to. And then, of course, these monthly calls that are all specific to Office 365 with a technical focus. And we'll talk about programs and updates from time to time, but we do try to have more of a focus on the technology side for you. So with that, let me turn it over to our first speaker, David, to talk about the partner technology services that are available in Q2. David, you now have the floor.
Thanks, Amanda. I'd like to welcome everyone to this presentation. So my name is Dave Branscombe. I'm a Senior Partner Technical Consultant, and we provide technical training for our partners on a monthly basis, and I'm going to talk about some of those training series for the next couple of minutes. So one of the things that we have going right now, which is a very popular series, is the Skype for Business Technical Series that you see here. We've got 2 deliveries planned in this quarter. We've got one in October and one in December. And as you can see, it addresses a lot of different topics that will help you get up to speed on Skype for Business. What's new, reference architectures, how do I upgrade from Link to Skype for Business, meeting and video concepts, server core and voice improvements, how do I configure hybrid between on-prem and Office 365 with Skype for Business, edge architecture, as well as driving Skype for Business adoption with your customers. So there's 8 different modules. They last each one a little over an hour for each one, and they're spread out over the course of several different days. So in addition to that, we have a new offering coming up in November and December, which is called the Skype for Business Online Academy. And this one is a deeper dive. It's 300, 400 level content that deals with things like Cloud PBX, Cloud PSTN, PSTN conferencing, how to use ExpressRoute when you have Skype for Business set up in Office 365, configuring enterprise voice, configuring hybrid voice, and the new Skype meeting broadcast concept. So we've got that coming up in November and December, and there's more deliveries of this content coming up in Q3. But what we're recommending that partners do is that they take the technical series first to lay a good foundation for the training, and then move on to the online academy. So, for example, if you want to take all of these trainings for Skype for Business, my personal recommendation would be to get the Skype for Business technical series done in October, and then take the online academy in November or December. And that'll give you a really strong foundation for deploying Skype for Business at your customer sites. We also have online labs that are available to help you get familiar with the technology. They're TechNet-based labs that help you do things like in-place upgrades, deploying SQL 2015 clusters using always-on technology, configuring server-side conversation history, and a variety of different topics. So all those are available as well for partners to take advantage of and get up to speed. In addition, we have a series called Maximize Your Productivity with Office 365. We have 3 deliveries coming up in the next couple months. We have, they're displayed right there with the topics. And the focus of these is to help improve your skills in SharePoint Online administration so that you can support your customers in their Office 365 engagement. So these are very specific towards SharePoint Online. But if you have customers that are working with SharePoint Online or Office or OneDrive for Business, they can often take advantage of these and get up to speed on some of the new technologies and capabilities with those technologies. One of the more popular series that we have is the Office 365 Ask the Experts. So we have a number of deliveries coming up in October, November, and December. These deal with a variety of different topics, SharePoint, Exchange Online, Azure technologies, and generally what happens in these is you'll have about a 30-minute technical discussion led by someone like myself, and then that will be followed up by 30, 40 minutes of Q&A about that topic. So these are really very popular, and we encourage everyone to take advantage of these as much as possible. These are some of the topics that are being discussed in the next couple months, but they change from month to month, and you know, it's good to stay on top of the new topics. We have the Office 365 Developer Series, which again is focused for SharePoint Online administration, but it goes into a little bit more developer-related topics, how to build solutions with, for example, Office Graph and Delve, how to transform your SharePoint deployments to the add-in model, and using management APIs and things of this nature. So these are, again, virtual webcasts that deal with these type of topics. And these are spread out over the course of 3 months as well, October, November, December. The Office 365 Initial Journey is a series of workshops. The deliveries are presented there in October, November, and December. And the topics that are addressed are really designed towards helping you as a partner understand how to sell Office 365 and propose the Office 365 suite to your customers and get them up and running very quickly. So you'll talk about things like the different service plans. Do I want to sell an E1, an E3, an E5 plan to my customer? How can I take advantage of internal use rights as a partner so that I can get up to speed and understand the use cases? We also have the presentation on how to perform your best Office 365 demo and leverage the Fast Track program. And then we get into a little bit more technical concepts about Exchange Online and, well, it says Link Online, but it's actually Skype for Business Online, and SharePoint Online technical overviews and Office 365 adoption. So these are 4 different modules, and again, as mentioned, they're presented in Q2 in October, November, and December. A little bit more comprehensive of an offering, but in a very similar vein, is the Office 365 Practice Accelerator for SMB or for CSP, we might say. So this is delivered in 2 separate 4-hour sessions. As you can see, the dates that are described there. This is what's addressed in the Office 365 Practice Accelerator, a number of different topics. And this is how you access the MPN Technical Benefits. I'm sorry, I had to kind of speed things up, but I wanted to show you how exactly to register for these. So let me very quickly demonstrate how you would do that. So I will be showing my desktop here. And what you do is go to aka.ms/MPN support. This will bring you to the partner portal. And you go down here to the Partner Learning Center. And here's where you would just type in something like Office 365. And in just a moment, well, for some reason the search isn't working right now, but that's where you would go to register for these and find the training that you need to get yourself up and running and help support your customers. So now I'll turn it back over to Amanda, and thank you for your attention.
Okay, thanks, David. So let's see. We are now going to turn it over to Andrew Cook. He's our Senior Product Marketing Manager, and he's going to walk us through what's new and exciting with Office 2016. With that, Andrew, you now have the floor.
Great, thanks. Are you going to load up the presentation there, Amanda?
Yep, it should be right there. And if you want to take control, then you can take over as presenter.
All right. The power is mine. Very good. So it's a small amount of power I get in life. So thanks very much, Amanda. So what I wanted to really walk you through and give you today was kind of three things, and hopefully some context as partners of what it can mean to you. The first is kind of where we're going with the modern workplace. So what are we developing against? The second is I'd like to make sure you understand in the near term what we've been focused on in terms of bringing value around Office 365 and Office 2016. And thirdly, I want to show you a little glimpse to the future, and the near-term future, where we're going with some of the work that we're doing. I bring this one up just as really focus on the bold ambitions, and a lot of folks think about Office in the context of reinventing productivity and business process, but really without all three of the bold ambitions, that's not going to happen. So not only are we reinventing productivity and business process, but we couldn't do it without the intelligent cloud platform, and we certainly couldn't do it if we weren't focused on making computing more personal to the individual user. So let's just kind of move along here. The modern workplace, and I apologize for any background noise. I'm actually in an event in New York, and a little hard to find a quiet spot. But when we think about the future, if we look at the left-hand side of the slide, the shift, there are a few things here that I want to talk about in the context of Office 365. The first is really the dynamic networks, and this is very naturally how we tend to work together. We tend to get groups of people together. And we see this, say, in our daily life when our kids are playing soccer. We see a group of the U11 girls soccer, that team comes together. They decide who's going to do the snacks and who's going to do the carpooling and one thing and another. And quite often they'll use some sort of online tool to coordinate everything, whether it's as simple as email or whether it's using maybe a group on Facebook or something like that. And that's a really natural way to work. In our workplace, we have probably with the Industrial Revolution gone into the static hierarchies. And so that's where we were. You had a job, you did it, and you had a place in the ladder. But the future, and we see it clearly, is these dynamic networks. And you will see it with anybody that you're employing who's coming out of college. They're very used to this idea that they get together. And what that really allows us to enhance is things like diversity. So just because I don't sit in your group, but if I happen to know, in my case, I know a lot about farming. If you are working with a customer who's in the agricultural industry, even though I'm not in your group, I'm somebody that you may want to have in this dynamic project or network that you create to solve a problem for a customer. So definitely the future's going that way. And from a partner perspective, educating customers how important it is to be able to do this and help guide them on how they can set up their IT and how they can enable and train people to facilitate these dynamic networks is really important. The second is this accessible insights, and you see that with a lot with the Power BI, etc. We have so much information, but making it accessible is really important. And this ties to the idea that we really want to be looking ahead and saying we've got to measure the efficiencies or effectiveness, rather, of outcomes, rather than the efficiencies of a process. So having those insights allows us to do that, and allows us to tell the stories. And the third one I'll talk about here is collective value creation. And there's lots of ways to look at this, but what I'll talk about now is these groups of folks that customers will have who are maybe salespeople, and they're in North Carolina, and they've got a job to do. And so they decide that, hey, you know what, IT's not delivering it, so we're just going to use Dropbox. And they start throwing files in Dropbox. And then they decide that Google Hangouts would be great for collaborating backwards and forwards. And they get together a mismatch of solutions, and it works really well to create value within that group. The problem is it's siloed. It's only within that group. And so that value creation exists there and there only, and not throughout the whole organization. So I'm going to show you some things about how we solve for that as well. But really important for IT to be thinking, how do we enable this collective value creation and bring together these dynamic networks? And the last two, security is obviously very important. And the systems of intelligence, you'll see from the perspective of Office 365 how Office Graph provides that one form of those system intelligence to surface the right information for us. And over here on the right-hand side, in the near term, this is what we're focused on. We're focused on building things for teamwork, and you've seen a lot of that with Skype. We're focused on being best on Windows 10, and I won't try and do a Cortana demo because it really doesn't like me, but using Cortana, and we'll see Cortana used more and more, so I can ask questions like, show me my latest presentations, and it'll actually bring up a list of presentations. Works for you is a big one. This is something that we've put a lot of effort into to make it a little bit simpler, a little bit easier, that tasks that you don't need to be bothered with that we can take care of, we do for you. And then obviously the most secure Office, and whether it's DLP for the files that are sitting in OneDrive and SharePoint, advanced threat protection, customer lockbox, all of these things we're working on to make Office 2016 the most secure Office. And so with that, I'm just going to switch over, and I am going to present my desktop at great risk. And that will load up here, and I'm going to walk you through some things. And I'm going to start, once it comes up, I'm going to start in Outlook, and I'm going to show you a few things in Outlook. Then I'm going to go to Word, and I'm going to show you some of the real-time co-authoring that goes on within Word, and a few other little tricks that we've got going there. And then we'll go to Excel, and we'll look at some of the new graph types, as well as a couple other things that are kind of neat there. And we'll spend a bit of time and delve backwards and forwards as we go. And Amanda, I'll just ask you to just shout out when I've got like 10, 15 minutes left to go, just to give us a heads up if you could. All right, so let's switch over and let's get my Outlook up. And I have a nice demos folder. This is my real Outlook, so I'm really showing you how I work every single day. I just selected some files here. So one of the things that I really like, and I'm looking at this email, I've got some site with some deals, so I'm going to click on that. And that's going to take me to a website. And here, let's see, this website has been classified as malicious. So this is advanced threat protection in action. And I think of it, and you can talk to customers, as this is kind of like the mulligans for email. So in golf, you hit the ball, you whiff it, you get another go. Same thing here. You clicked on a link, it looked good, it was from somebody you knew. It turns out that it's not. You get another do-over at this. So really nice functionality to present and show to customers. And it's part of the broader set of services you'll be able to sell around helping them provide policies and guidelines to help steer their users in the right direction. So that was pretty good. But the other thing that I use every single day is this clutter folder. And clutter, I talk about the systems of intelligence. Clutter is actually busy learning what I like and what I don't like, what I look at and just throw away, and what I spend time on. on, and it's separate from spam. Spam filtering is happening back at the Exchange server. It's getting rid of the obvious spam. Things that aren't spam still come through, but are not relevant to me, so they are clutter. And it's really easy. I see this, whatever this is, I don't want that, I move it to clutter. And Office 365 is learning. It's learning what I like and what I don't like. And it does some other neat things. So it will actually tell me, it sends me a little email each day, telling me the type of things that it moved out into clutter for me. So if there's something new, and this says a new type of message we moved from Ed and LinkedIn Network. So it's letting me know there was something different happened today. And that informs me, well, maybe I should have a look at the clutter and see if I actually wanted that one or not. So really proactively getting clutter out, but making sure that it's giving me boundaries and guidelines within which I can operate and feel really comfortable. So that's clutter, really big time saver. The other one is groups that's new. Now, groups are fantastic, and I've been presenting to customers for the last month, actually. And this is something that they really, really love. They really grok onto this very quickly because they like the idea of using groups to form dynamic networks. Now, a lot of people are like, well, the difference between groups and Yammer, you're de-investing in Yammer, what's going on? Well, the simple answer is that groups are really an umbrella across a bunch of different channels or signals that are coming through from the workplace. So that includes email, it includes calendar, and you can see some of these up here. Calendar, if I click on that, it's going to bring up a group specific calendar, so we can see that there. Files, so it'll take me, when I create a group, it creates a OneDrive section for me where we can drop files. I can share this with folks. I can show files that are shared with the group, all right there from within that group's interface. I get right to this. And then we also have in here OneNote, so here we can go to the notebook, and this is specific to the particular group. So really powerful, useful way to bring people together. And Yammer is going to be one of these signals. It's not in there yet, but it's coming in, and so is Dynamics. That's coming into here, where it will just be another signal that the group can use. Now, important to understand, groups are public by default, but you can set it up and you can say it's not public. But the long-term vision here is that as we think about that collective value creation, you'll be able to go into a form of delve called Group Insights, and you'll be able to search, and you'll find these groups, and you'll be able to join a group. So you'll find a group, and maybe you're interested in something to do with high schools, something like that, because you've got kids in high school. You can see a group and join that and start contributing to it. And when you join that group, all of those different channels, Yammer, OneNote, the files, the calendar, immediately accessible to you. So you think about new team members coming in, really, really valuable to do this. So that's groups, pretty neat. So, but while we're here, let me try and show you something else. So I'm in OneNote, and one thing I can do is come and do, and we'll see, there we go. I haven't left OneNote. I've done a image from web search, and I'm in New York, so I'm going to bring in the Jets, and they'll drop this file right in here into my OneNote. Never left the application. I was able to go out to the web and do a search. Okay, so let's leave this for a little bit, and we're going to come back to it, but I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to go to Delve. Let's see if that'll close. There we go. We'll go to Delve. And this is Delve. Most of you, I hope, are familiar with it, but Delve is collecting a whole bunch of signals and is showing me what's relevant to me. And I can make them favorites. If I'm really interested in this one, I can make it a favorite. But it's showing from folks that I work with or are related to people that I'm working with. Amanda's here. We can see this. I'll do her a favor. We'll make that a favorite. Really quickly and easy. I start my day here. And then I come over here and I can see things that I'm working on. And so let's go and open this one, this carbon 3D printing proposal. So I'm going to open that here, and I can see that this will bring it up. And then I'm going to go edit this online. And I can share the file easily within here, and let's come down to this section here, okay? Andrew Cook's editing, so it's telling me who's editing it. And then I'm going to go over here and actually also have this file locally. So I'm going to come here, and there's a share icon. This is new in Office 2016. And I can see who is online sharing, who has access to my documents. And as you talk to customers about the value of Skype for Business, you can see, well, I'm presenting, so hey. But you can see who's here and who's editing. If Melissa was here, I'd see her. She's not. She's mobile. I could, without leaving the application, bring her into a conversation. So that's a real value add to customers. So as you show them some of this functionality, don't forget to call out how these things integrate together. And you'll notice over here, I see Andrew Cook is editing it. And if we go back there, that's where I was. And so let's do this. Let's throw this on this side. We'll put this over here. Close that out. And so I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to go and start editing stuff here. And you can see both of these are flagged as Andrew's editing that. And so if I come over here and I go, let's say I go, I think this is really important. You see the real-time editing happening over there. And this works with lots of people. So it's good when we have many people doing it. That gives you a quick example and a view of what the real-time co-editing looks like. Great one to show to people. The point is that if they set things up correctly, use OneDrive for Business, and you can tell them how you can bring files over to help them do that, how you can educate them on that, they're going to be able to do this type of rich co-authoring, and they can use Skype for Business to be communicating, etc. So let's just make this one a little bigger. I'm going to show you something else here. The great risk of not being able to make this one a little bigger as we have this. Let's unpin that. There we go. So one of the other things I can do is I can go in Office 2016 3D printing. So let's see. I want to find out something about 3D printing. So we have something called Smart Lookup. So we go in here, and this goes out to the web, and it finds I can look at definitions of 3D printing. I can explore. It's bringing in Bing image searches. So I can say, well, I want to show this. So let's bring that in. Okay, so I didn't leave the document. I'm out on the web, and I just brought an image in. The other thing I really liked was the definition that was over here. So I'm just going to drag that in. Again, I haven't left my document, but using Smart Search, I can go ahead and find a lot of information and bring it in. This is a real time saver for folks. So we'll just save this since we like what we're doing there. And then we can close this out here in a second. Let's continue on to Excel. I don't have my Excel up, so I'm going to go bring that. And we're going to have a look at the sales forecast. One of the other things that folks spend a lot of time on is creating graphs. And if anybody's had to create a waterfall graph, they know what I'm talking about. It takes a very long time to do it. But it communicates the ideas so much better when you do it than looking at something like this. So I can use something like Tell Me, and I can go, I want to create a, I don't want to do a forecast, I want to do a waterfall. And what Tell Me's doing is actually going to the commands and bringing them up for me. So people say, look, there's so much innovation in Office 365, I can't keep up. You guys are updating all the time. I say, well, Tell Me will help people. They say what they want to do as a task, we help them here, and we bring up the command, and boom. Right from there, I didn't have to go into the ribbon. I have this. I can come in here, and now I have to make a waterfall. So I'm going to right-click and say Set as Total. Gross income, it looks like a total. Okay. Operating income, less money, bit by bit. We'll set that as total. And finally, after Uncle Sam takes his cut, there's a little bit of net income left. And just within seconds, I've created a beautiful waterfall chart somebody can understand and see what's eating it away to get us to our net income from those great gross revenues that we reported early on. The second one that folks look at is things like understanding what's really contributing to our bottom line, or what are customers really buying. So we're going to go tell me again. I'm going to do a hierarchical chart here. So let's insert one of those. Let's start with one of these, this tree map thing. So here we go. We can see red, children's books. That seems to be pretty important. Romance. I can see Fiona Bartlett is pretty big there. And I can go through and I can get a really quick idea of what's really important and not important. And if I didn't do that, I would have probably centered on this one here around the 25,000, since it's the biggest number. Now, personally, I actually prefer a different type of chart, and that's the sunburst. So let's change this out. And again, we can see that children's books are probably close to 40% of where we're making the sales. And really interestingly, it's very apparent that most of that's in the ages 3 to 5, not the preteens or the ages 6 to 8. And really, our first readers are a key component there. So if we're thinking about where we would stock things, up front, we probably want to put some first reader books, maybe some of Fiona's books, and so on. So again, just a really quick, simple way for people to take advantage of Excel in Office 2016. The last thing that folks like to do a lot of is forecasting. And I'm sure you do a lot of this. And if you have the historical data, people often had the data but didn't know what to do with it, or didn't know how to do a really good forecast. So within Excel 2016, we have that. So let's just go do a forecast. We're going to do a forecast sheet. I've obviously got some data over a couple of years here. And I can bring this up, and it gives me the opportunity to make some changes. So I'm going to go do some options. And if I start it further back, so let's start it back a little while, we'll start to get a better view of how accurate we are over time. It might have been a little drastic for what I want to show. So let's do this. There we go. Now I get a pretty good view. I can set some other things, and it'll create a forecast sheet for me. So here we go. In a couple of clicks, I have a forecast sheet, and I can see clearly how the forecast is. And it looks like I'm trending towards, not always, but overall towards the top end of my confidence level. So based on some of this, I would say that we're going to end up, our sales are going to end up somewhere between here and here at the top end of the confidence level. Really quick and easy for folks to do. All right, so with that, let's shoot back and take a look at Delve again. So where am I? Here I am. All right, let me make this bigger. So I showed a little bit of Delve, finding things. You can also search for stuff. So one of the things I had to do in preparation was go and find out more about groups, because people wanted to understand what's the relative difference here. So I go in here, and I can see there's a few different things. There's lots of documents from around the organization, because Delve is pulling information from everywhere. And an important thing to convey to customers as you work with them is their users are in control. So if they want to share everything with everybody, it will show up in Delve. If they don't share it with everybody, it won't show up in Delve. Or if they share it with a group of people, only those group of people will see it within Delve. Now there are some boards here, and there happen to be boards on groups. So I went and looked at that. And here, this is kind of like a bulletin board. Anything that's really related to this, folks can drag in and throw into here. So if they're creating content somewhere in the UK related to groups, they could go and throw this in here, and then everybody else could see it. So pretty neat, and this is how I figured out a lot of stuff about groups. I just went and searched, but I don't know anybody here. So again, real powerful value add as you look at people and they're sort of asking the question, you know, should we go with OneDrive for Business? And hopefully you guys all saw the announcements around the next gen sync client. If you haven't gone to the Office blogs, definitely go there every day. It's where I go every day. And you'll see that there's announcements there around the next gen sync client, and I would encourage you to go look at that and go look at the little video that's on there, because it is really exciting to see what they've done there. But back to here. So I can see this. And customers should really start putting stuff on OneDrive for Business, because that's going to enable this collective value creation to be shared throughout the organization. So really important that they understand that, and they understand why when you talk about the importance of using OneDrive for Business, how is that actually going to benefit their organization? All right, so let's go back to Outlook. So some of the things that we do a lot is, of course, share files with folks. So let's go do that, and let's pick on somebody like myself. We'll go share a file with me, and I'm going to go edit this, please, and then we'll just make it a little more real. We'll put in myself. We'll put in Amanda. There we go. And I know there are other folks that like Jenny, and I can see the status. I also see Jenny's out, so if this was time important, I would just take Jenny out. And again, this is Office making life a little easier, helping work for folks. I can see that Andrew is the Patrol Kiwi isn't in my organization, so I get a little policy tip there. Again, these are the sort of things you can talk to customers about, helping them set up the policy guidelines. And I'm going to go look, see the attached file and edit it. You in 38 minutes. Sorry for the fire drill. All right, and they're probably thinking, that guy's always fire drills. So let's go send that, and let's see, what's this? Oh, I don't know how many of you have done this, but sending out the one without the attachment and then having to do it again, working for you, saying, well, wait a second, looks like you meant to, but you forgot to attach a file, so let's not send that. But what we can do is we can go and have a look, and most times when people send files, they've just been working on them. So we pull up the recent items. Now, of course, you can go and browse, and we were just working, as you saw, on the carbon 3D printing proposal, and you'll notice this cloud icon over here. This one doesn't have a cloud icon, has a cloud icon, so on. So what this means is that it's going to look like an attachment, but it's actually going to be a link to the file. Now I can do some permission setting here. I can edit, don't edit, and so on. And so here I am sending out one version of the file that everybody can go and edit. They can do the co-editing on it. They'll see what somebody else is editing, so if they happen to get in at the same time, not a problem. They can see that and avoid sort of writing over each other. And we just saved your customer a lot of network traffic, because most often when people are attaching files, particularly if they're Excel or PowerPoint files, they tend to be extremely large, in the 20 to 100 megabytes, sometimes more, and they send it to 50 people, and so that chews up a lot of bandwidth and performance. So by talking to customers about, well, you should really move to 2016, what are some of the benefits? Well, just on your network, how are your reviews on your network performance recently? Probably not good. This is going to help with that. Okay. So we could send that out, and I'll put my little, so it doesn't take 5 minutes. I can send that out to them, and they'll get this file, and they'll be able to edit it. A couple of other things I want to show you, just kind of close out. First is Planner. This is a new thing that we announced, and then we'll put it into public preview here shortly. So this is highly related to groups, and eventually will come in under my groups view, but it's related to it there. So I can go set tasks here for somebody, and I know they're getting them because I set one as part of a demo, and somebody came back and said, no, we're working on this. Shining with a smart card. All right, that sounds good. Oops, did I just lose my internet connectivity? Hopefully not. That's not good, but we'll see. We'll try that one more time, and then we'll go to something else. Let's see. All right, let's see if Planner comes back up. There we go. And there it is. And at the great risk of failing, we'll bring it up. There we go. And so now I can go add a task here, and I can go get estimate on number of folks adopting 0365 EDU, which is the new SKU. So tell your kids at the school, new SKU. I can set a due date for this. Let's say we're in fire drill mode. I can assign it to somebody. And I can go to, Eleanor will probably tell me, hey, why do I have to do this? And then I can add this task and I give a due date. All right. And now when I go back to my Planner Hub, I can see that there's an additional task. There's now 3 tasks, not started, 1 completed. So there's 3 that aren't started there. So that's the planner. And you can start to see the advantage and why customers are getting excited about the planner. So now we're going to go back over here and let's see if we can get up the PowerPoint files, if I can find my one. Oops, I don't want to do that. Let's manage content. And somewhere here is this. So let's present that. Okay. And I told you I'd show you some of the future. So I want to show you where we're going with Delve Org Analytics. And this is one where, as you think about evolving your, let's go to thumbnails. I love this, and do thumbnails here. Let's go through these. Get to Delve Org Analytics. We'll go there. Do this. Content view. Okay. So the Delve Org Analytics is, aside from doing a build here, is really taking all those signals that are coming through the Office graph and starting to make it really useful to organization. And then we think of people who are doing analyzing, saying, just trying to say, well, people who meet more, do they have a higher sales? Those type of things. Down to groups. How's my group functioning, down to individuals, and we can see here, here's my group's work map. I can look at things like the number of percentage of emails I'm sending outside of work and how that looks like compared to the rest of the company. That might have been handy for Amazon, who knows. Manage the number of meetings outside of business hours, so I'm starting to get a sense of my work-life balance. And if I had to have a conversation with a manager, I could say, well, no, look, here's the facts. Right, the stuff that you're doing, I'm having to work outside of my work hours. So I can see a lot of information there, really handy. I can drill into a team's work map. Now, the thicker the line, the better the interaction. So I can see that, for example, the sales team and the product team are working well. Litware seems to be working with the sales team. You know, I have all these reasonably good connections. Now, if I was looking at somebody who worked with Coho Vineyard, it's certainly not the sales team, so that might be a gap. And then if I go to the next slide and I say, well, wait a second, let me drill down. You see the filters up here. I'm going to drill down and just look at meetings. And that's interesting because I had a thick line here and then I got no line. So while I think that the product team and the sales team are actually working well together, it turns out they've never met. They haven't got on a call. They haven't got into a room. These guys are not talking. So very quickly I can see, hey, I got a problem. Again, a reason is you talk to customers, why do they need to get onto Office 365? Why should they start thinking about structuring things in OneDrive for Business, et cetera, and so on? This is what's coming. This is sort of value that they will be able to get out of this. Individuals will be able to look at this and go, well, you know, I spent the most profound thoughts of my life early in the morning at 8 a.m., and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I've finished my cup of coffee and nobody's responded. I can't believe it. But then I can have a look and I can start to see what the trend looks like for how people, when they get to read the email. So maybe I don't need to panic that much because it turns out 82% of the people read it. And I can see that, and I can start to get useful insights like, well, and again, being on Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business, etc., what is the percentage read? And I get useful insights like emails I send to individuals, 75% more read than those I send to groups. Well, hey, that's good to know. And emails I send between 3 and 4 are less read than at other times. So if I've got something really important, guess what time I shouldn't send it? 3 to 4. Right? Not a great time. Not going to be successful. Shorter emails, more read than longer emails, but longer emails are forwarded more. So these are the sort of things that help me as an individual start to think about how do I effectively communicate. And we come back to the idea of dynamic networks. How do I make that work? How do I get those sort of actionable insights? How do I get collective value creation? Doing things like this and understanding this and getting these insights is going to be really, really valuable and helpful to that. You can see, am I focused or not? Time spent in meetings. Multitasking in meetings. Nobody does that, right? None of you are on your computer checking email right now. Emails sent per day, white space hours, context switches. Context switching takes up a lot of time. And these are the sort of things that at a organizational view, people can look at that and go, you know what, I've got people who spend a lot of time context switching, which probably means they get interrupted a lot. Let me go and have a look at how we're structuring things, how we're working with folks. Let me go and have a look at what our interactions are like across different groups. And you can start to refine the performance of the individual folks. I think I'm getting near time. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was what do we talk to customers about when we guide them. So the first one is the value discovery workshop. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but go to www.valuediscoveryworkshop.com. This is a really great tool that we developed, or our worldwide group developed, that enable, and I think they showed it at WPC if you went there, but it really enables you to have a nice structured conversation about high-valued activities with the customer. So it's a great tool. If I had enough time, I'd go demo it to you, but it brings up a list of 10 high-value activities that we've researched with Forrester and Gartner, and for different organizations, different industries, etc. And you can go through and say, okay, here are the high-value activities that are interested to you, the customer. Let's dig into those, and it shows typical process and allows them to say, within that process and within that high-value activity, what sort of components or factors are important, and they can look at it and say, hey, these are things we do well. We probably don't need much help with that. But these things, I hadn't thought about it, that was a critical factor, and we don't do that well, so that's important to me, and you can select those out. And you end up sort of flowing through that, and you get to the, okay, what's most important to focus on? And we look at, well, how willing is your organization to adopt these sort of changes? How long is it going to take? And you can give them guidance on that. And then how valuable is it to your organization? You can use some of the facts that came up when we did the high-value activities, where we have Gartner and Forrester data supporting it, saying that, hey, this generated X 30-minute savings per day, or did Z in terms of productivity or ROI on money spent, and so on. And it gives a great foundation for the next sort of step, where everybody, you haven't talked products, but you've talked about what's valuable to their organization, and then you can move the conversation forward to, well, what do we need to do to implement that? So great tool. Highly encourage you to go have a look at it, use it. But we tell people, go find a partner who will do this. We talk to them about the Customer Success Center and how important it is for them to take advantage of this, and that from an IT perspective, implementing stuff is much less of the battle now. The real thing that they got to think about is how do they make people successful and roll it out. And whether it's setting up champions, whether it's educating people, putting posters on the wall, the Customer Success Center has all of that content, guidance, etc., that will help make them successful. It's a resource that you can use. You can take it to them, customize it for them, and help guide them on a journey of success. And obviously you can bill and charge for the time spent doing the change management and using these tools. But we definitely guide them to this, and we talk to them about the customer roadmap and so on. So I'm going to stop there, Amanda.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you, Andrew. That was a really good overview and demo on the new functionality of Office. Hope y'all took a few things away from that. It looks like there's a couple questions in the Q&A for Andrew. So, Andrew, I'm going to go ahead and read them off, and we'll go through them verbally on the call here. The first question is Outlook performance improved, especially when loading add-ins?
I think it has. I'll be really honest with you. I didn't see see a problem before that I noticed. But if what I would encourage is maybe ping Amanda with the specific add-ins that you're having trouble with, and we can look at that.
Okay, thank you. The next question, can we get statistical information about files accessed by who and number of time?
Yes, so in Delve will tell you some of that. The question, I think, is a little deeper. Can we get the raw kind of data behind it? You can see who accessed it. You can see things like, let me show you this. Amanda, if you don't mind, I'm going to present my desktop here.
Sure.
And I'm going to show you something. So as an individual, you can also get a great amount of information on that. And let me see, this should come up. While we're doing that, I'll bring up my Word document. Loading. And it'll show you sort of at the individual level what you can see and do with the new history that's in Office 2016. Again, another reason people should be on OneDrive for Business or SharePoint Online. I see it's still loading, but Amanda, if you can tell me when you see something, here it is, I think, right? Okay, so I can go to the backstage here. I can go to history. And so now I did all the editing on this one, so not so exciting. But you can see all of the history about who edited what here. And if there were more people, it would be a lot more interesting than this. And I can click on any one of these. Okay, we'll click on the original one when I got the file. And it'll bring it up, and it'll show me what that looked like. Very handy. But even better is I can actually compare that, and I can see all of the people. So it happens to be me, but if there are other people playing along, I would see who did what. You can see that over here, and I can compare it across here. And if I wanted to, I could restore to the original version, or I could just copy and paste things over into the current document.
Okay, thank you. Is Delve an add-on to Office or built into Office 2016?
It's built into Office 365. So it's part of the core service of Office 365.
Okay. And what's the maximum file size sending attachments in Outlook 2016?
I want to say it's now 50 megabytes. No, it's not 50 megabytes. It's 50 something. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's not gigabytes, but I can look that up and find if they increased it from the limit that was there. In fact, the increase happened quite a few months ago.
Okay. All right, we'll check on that one.
And it's an Exchange limit, just to be clear. It's Exchange, not Outlook. Outlook doesn't care.
Okay. Is Skype Business going to interact with the function in Delve Analytics? For example, calls between team members?
Yes.
Okay.
That will show up. And so when we did meetings and it didn't show anything else, it's looking both at calendar as well as Skype for Business meetings or online meetings.
Great. Are there plans for a mobile version of Delve to be on the Windows Phone?
Yes. Okay. Yes, and I can't speak for them, but I imagine it will be across all platforms. We really, in fact, will probably come out on anything but Windows Phone first. But yes, there will be a mobile Delve version, an app.
Okay, the question came in and says, it looks like there was a lot of setup required with all the available tools. Is there a protocol, work plan, or a checklist available to guide the setup of all these components?
So there wasn't much setup for me. This is what I use every day. This is just my work computer. In terms of setup in the administrative side of things, Delve's there. You turn it on for the organization, and it's an organizational level on or off. It's on, and it's doing its thing. So you really don't have to set up too much except click a checkbox there. There is more work if I think about where you can go sell services. There's a lot of room under the data loss prevention and other sort of compliance areas to go and configure within the compliance center the rules that you want to guide people with. So if you don't want to do much, there ain't much to do, but if you really want to take advantage of it, there's opportunities to work with people to go through and help them understand what's important and who they want to have these rules apply to.
Okay. Boy, there's a lot of questions firing in now. So I'm just going to keep going. We have a few more minutes.
Yep.
When can we expect org analytics piece of Delve?
So we haven't publicly disclosed when that's coming, but you will not be gray by the time you get it, assuming you're not gray now. It's going to come soon.
Okay. What's the storage space per user for OneDrive for Business?
It's unlimited,
Okay,
depending on the
that's
plan
what-
you're on.
yeah.
It's at least 1 terabyte to unlimited. We announced that a year or so ago and have been rolling that out.
Okay. When the new sync engine for OneDrive, when will the new sync engine for OneDrive for Business be available?
It's available in public preview. So one of the areas I really, really encourage folks to go to, I go to it every day, is this, let me unpin this, there we go, Office blogs. And there's a great, I mean, you go to this OneDrive for Business, they call it the Next Gen Sync client. And there's a little video down here. Spend a couple of minutes, like 4 to 5 minutes, to listen to this guy describe everything that's coming in the OneDrive for Business, the Next Gen Sync client. I mean, it's solving all of the problems that customers brought to us around the sync. And so it's in preview. We haven't announced, at least I didn't see it in this blog, exactly when we'll release it, but it's in public preview now.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, it's really, really good.
Okay. Thank you. And it looks like a bunch of people responded to the message limit. So there was a lot of folks on the call, Andrew, that knew the answer. So the question about the message size, we've increased the allowed maximum message size to 150 megabits, giving the Office 365 administrators the ability to set the maximum message size of their choosing, anywhere from 1 meg to 150 meg. Thank you so much for clearing that up. There was a bunch
I
of
knew there
folks
was a
that
50.
answered. Yeah. Okay. Let me see, maybe we'll take one more here, and then if there's some more questions that were in there we didn't get to, what we'll do is once we stop the session and the recording, we'll just go ahead and answer in line. Let's see.
Yeah, and I can stay on the phone if that's helpful.
Okay, here, this looks like a new one. Okay, out of the box, Delve is difficult for me to utilize. How can you teach it to return relevant content when you have permissions to everything?
So, good question, and as an individual, we don't have to teach it anything. It learns, and so this is sort of that machine learning going on in the background. It is looking at what I'm doing. It's looking who I'm having meetings with, who I'm working with, who I'm sharing files with, folks that are related to people that I'm working with a lot, and it's surfacing that for me. So if we look here, if I'm on my home, some of these folks I know, and then some of them I actually don't, but they're related to people that I'm working with. And so it brings all of that up for me. And in this case, in my home view, it's pretty much the people that I work with a lot that that comes up in this view. So it does all of that learning for me. I can go search on individual people, so if I'm interested in what Bill's working on, hopefully nothing too super secret, and it will bring up things that Bill is working on. And so I can look there. And it's a really helpful, either I just do a search or I start to bounce around looking at different people, and I can go see things that are related to Bill. And again, this is giving me a view saying, well, Bill's working on this, and here's the people that Bill works with. And so it's self-learning, it's machine learning on the background. So I don't have to set anything up. All I have to do is start using it. And there are two things I have open when I start my day, Delve and OneDrive for the Office forums, because they had something every day pretty much. And this is where I start the day. And I use it to see what I look for things that my manager's working on, or our GM is working on. so that I can keep current, or I can see something, okay, well, maybe I should go have a look at that. That's kind of important. Or I can look at things that, somebody over here, Eric is working on LifeTiles offer, so coming soon, but I want to go and have a look at it since he's been doing some work on that.
So Andrew, I'm gonna do one last question before we wrap it up here, because there was a few in the queue that were very similar. Is the Office 365 Planner functionality available now, or is it in the preview, or when would we expect to see that?
So we announced it, and we're going to put it into preview. It's not in preview right now.
Okay.
But it won't be too far out.
Okay. So we are going to wrap up the session, and we're going to stop the recording here. There are still a few more questions in the queue, so if you happen to be one of those that have the question, we'll stay on for a few more minutes after and try to respond to them contextually in the message pane. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Amanda. Your feedback is important to us, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you found today's information helpful. Please take a few minutes to let us know by completing a short survey. Please click on the messages button to find the link to the survey. And you can access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered 72 hours post-conference. And I'd like to thank our presenters, Amanda, David, and Andrew. This concludes today's web conference. You may now disconnect.